Hello again, everyone. Welcome. I'm Sienna from Dragon Trail International. Thank you for joining us for this month's webinar, which is all about the Chinese social media platform Xiaohongshu and how it can be used for travel marketing. We ran a webinar on Xiaohongshu a little over a year ago, but there are a couple of key things that are different about this year's session that make it particularly valuable. First of all, we now have exclusive Xiaohongshu rankings data gathered by Dragon Trail on a weekly basis for the past year for overseas tourism brands accounts. And secondly, we're really honored and excited to have with us today Xiaohongshu's head of outbound travel commercialization, Kathy Wu, joining as a guest speaker. So thank you so much for being here, Kathy. You'll also hear from myself as well as Dragon Trail's marketing specialist, Emily Cao, who's behind the launch of Dragon Trail's Xiaohongshu rankings for the tourism industry. And she's written all of our quarterly reports on the data so far. And she's also an avid Xiaohongshu user herself. On the agenda today, I'm going to start out with a brief history of Xiaohongshu so you can see where its relevance for international travel comes from, and how the platform and its content have evolved over the years to get to where we are now. Next, I'll turn over to Kathy for an official introduction to the platform and how overseas tourism brands can work together with Xiaohongshu to market and sell travel. Then Emily is going to present an analysis of our 2024 Xiaohongshu rankings data, along with case studies of the accounts and content that have been most successful on the platform and some practical tips. Our whole presentation should last for around 45 minutes or so, and we will open up at the end for a Q&A session with all of the speakers. You can send in questions at any point during the webinar by using the Q&A button on your Zoom control panel, and we'll answer as many as we can at the end of the session. Another thing I want to confirm is that we will be sending out a copy of today's presentation slides to everybody later today, along with a link to a recording of the webinar. So you'll have all of the materials from today for future reference, as well as to share with any colleagues who you think might be interested in the content but weren't able to attend the live session. A quick introduction to Dragon Trail for any of you who might be joining us for the first time. We're a marketing solutions company specializing in helping brands and businesses around the world to connect to Chinese consumers and the Chinese travel trade. Our work includes B2C digital marketing, which includes Xiaohongshu and influencer marketing, as well as B2B marketing, events, research and strategy consulting, and representation services. We're proud to work with leading tourism brands all around the world on every continent, including destinations, attractions, hotels, retailers, airlines, and more. You can find more information about our services, our clients, case studies of our work, and lots of free resources on Chinese travel and digital marketing trends on our website, www.dragontrail.com. So now let's take a quick look at Xiaohongshu's history and its relevance for travel. The app was actually founded more than 11 years ago in June 2013, and it began as a guide to shopping in Hong Kong. So right from the start, Xiaohongshu was a practical guide to shopping while traveling outside of mainland China. And I think despite what looked like really big changes over the years, it stayed quite true to this key function or identity. Users very quickly started adding information about shopping in other overseas destinations, and the app's name was updated to Xiaohongshu Shopping Guide. But from there, Xiaohongshu then took a turn towards cross-border e-commerce for people who wanted products from overseas but weren't actually traveling there. I first used Xiaohongshu in 2017 when I was first working for Dragon Trail, and I was interested to write a blog post about how the app was used for travel and its potential for tourism marketing. But I remember searching for London, and all that came up were photographs of products like makeup or shoes, which you could buy from people via the app. And I think there were also some posts there advertising wedding photography services in London. So at that time, it seemed to me that Xiaohongshu was not for tourists, and I didn't write the article that I had been researching. Then a year later in 2018, we tried again to find outbound tourism related content on Xiaohongshu that we could cover on the Dragon Trail blog. The big news at that time was that Kim Kardashian had just joined the app on October 1st, and this was international recognition that the platform was only becoming more important. At that point, we did find a lot of travel-related content, particularly for luxury travel. Xiaohongshu was where users shared photos and information about their overseas shopping trips, as well as luxury accommodation, luxury experiences like private yachts and private jets, as well as luxury dining and afternoon tea. And I say afternoon tea specifically because it's still a popular theme for travel content among Xiaohongshu users. We also saw the importance of cool aesthetics, like you can see on the right here with the Louis Vuitton pop-up in Los Angeles. And this is similar to something that you would see on Instagram as well. But I think it also relates to the Daca or check-in tourism trend that was becoming very popular in China at that time. Xiaohongshu was, and I think it continues to be, inspirational and aspirational. Now, at this point in 2018, 2019, overseas tourism brands were not opening their own accounts on Xiaohongshu yet, but it was a platform that was seen as very strong for KOL marketing or influencer marketing, especially because Xiaohongshu's core user base of young women in first-tier cities is also the core demographic for Chinese outbound tourism. Then COVID hit. And you might think this wouldn't be a great time for tourism content on Chinese social media, but actually China experienced booming domestic tourism for most of 2020 and well into 2021. And during this time, the amount of tourism-related content on Xiaohongshu took off. And this was content that was aesthetically beautiful, it was aspirational, it might feature designer clothing, as you can see in the examples here, but it wasn't necessarily related in any way to shopping anymore. Xiaohongshu was the driving force behind China's huge pandemic-era glamping trend, and we also saw things like music festivals, road trips, traditional culture, and natural beauty. Throughout the pandemic years, Xiaohongshu continued to grow as the platform to share travel experiences and as a valuable source of information about travel. By the time of China's reopening, Dragon Trail research found that Xiaohongshu was well ahead of other social media platforms as a source of information for planning an outbound trip, chosen by 36% in January 2023. This year, it's even more popular. In our last Chinese traveler sentiment survey, more than half of respondents said they would use Xiaohongshu to find information about outbound travel destinations. And Xiaohongshu isn't just a source of inspiration and information anymore. We're also starting to see it used for travel booking. This summer, we asked Chinese travel agents how they sell outbound travel products. While Xiaohongshu is still pretty far down the list compared to OTAs and WeChat, for example, it's still significant that 25% of the travel agents said that they sell outbound travel through Xiaohongshu. So that brings us to Xiaohongshu today. The app has seen incredible growth in user numbers from just 30 million in April 2018 to 300 million at the end of last year. The gender ratio has evened out a little bit, but women are still by far the majority. And Xiaohongshu is strong with that core outbound travel demographic of younger women from top-tier cities. Xiaohongshu's growing relevance for travel shows no signs of slowing down. In 2023, travel-related posts were up by 273% compared to the year before. And one of the things that's driving Xiaohongshu's growth is, and its use for travel, is that it boasts a really good search function with 300 million searches every day. New to the app are advertising and e-commerce functions for travel brands, like the example that you can see here, where if you search for MSC Cruises, 3 different cruise products will come up above the MSC account. And what's particularly interesting about this exact example for me is that in my 2018 blog article for Dragon Trail about Xiaohongshu, I specifically wrote that the app was not for making cruise ship reservations. But now, 6 years later, it is an app where Chinese travelers can and do make cruise ship reservations, as we can see here. In addition to its strong search function, another thing that makes Xiaohongshu popular and has always been key to its success is that the majority of content on the app is user-generated, and this makes it really authentic and trustworthy. Looking at posts on Xiaohongshu recently, especially for some of the same destinations as the luxury travel screenshots we have from 2018, we can see a lot of similarities as well as differences. Xiaohongshu is still aspirational and it's still aesthetically beautiful. It's still mostly female driven. And just as it did when it was first launched in 2013, it emphasizes practical travel tips and useful recommendations. But it's definitely not just about shopping anymore, and it's not just about traditional luxury anymore either. Perhaps as the original users have gotten older, there's a lot more family travel content than there used to be. And another change that's happened over the years, and we see this across all Chinese social media platforms, is the rise of video content, with lots of travel vlogs now, in addition to photo and text posts. Whereas in 2018, there were no international tourism brands with accounts on Xiaohongshu. Now opening an official account is increasingly something that destinations and businesses want to do, in addition to KOL marketing, which is still a good way to market on the platform. Here you can see a few examples of brands whose Xiaohongshu accounts are managed by Dragon Trail, including Visit California, the Queensland Australia Tourism Board, Small Luxury Hotels of the World, and Casa Mila in Barcelona. So that brings us up to the present now, and I'd like to welcome Kathy Wu from Xiaohongshu to tell us more about how tourism brands can work with this incredibly popular platform.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Oh, sorry, I had to change some settings for that, and it should be ready for you to share now.
Okay, can you see my screen right now?
Yes, yeah, everything looks good, thanks.
Great. So hello everyone, I'm Kathy. I'm the head of outbound travel in Xiaohongshu commercial department. I'm so glad to be invited here and to introduce what is Xiaohongshu and how can you cooperate with Xiaohongshu to all of you in this session. So what is Xiaohongshu who for you who may haven't heard of Xiaohongshu before, Xiaohongshu is China's leading lifestyle platform right now. And I would say it's like a combination of Instagram, Pinterest, and Amazon. And our mission is to inspire lives with authentic news, authentic contents from all of the people, from all of the ordinary people. Xiaohongshu is established in 2013, and we started from a shopping guide, which is like a overseas shopping guide, and from Hong Kong, Paris, New York, etc. And we starting expanding our content from shopping guide to beauty, fashion, travel, fitness, and etc. So basically, our original primary target users are female who love shopping, who are very keen on their appearance, and they have relatively high income. And now we expanding our content to food and recipe and outdoor activities and etc. And even in 2023, after 2023, after the COVID-19, we expanding our outbound travel section from 2023, and now we can explore far more than these kind of contents right now. So who are our target users? Our target users are eager to get inspired and passionate to learn and share. They are young generation people dominated. And for now, we have over 300 million monthly active users, and 50% of them are born after 1995, which is means they are under 50% of them are under 30 years old, and 50% of them from high-tier cities like Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Hangzhou, Suzhou, etc. And the male to female ratio is still female is dominant right now, which is 3 to 7, which is perfectly makes sense because if you want to do outbound travel, it's always your wife or your girlfriend make the final decision, right? And now we have 90% of the user generated content, which is very different from our competitive social media partners like TikTok or etc. Because we have very limited stake in advertising. We wanted to share our target, or we want to share our users into a more authentic nodes, into a more authentic nodes. So that's why we control our advertising publish under 10%. For now, the last figure I want to point out is the 70% of the search penetration. For now, we are the #1 Chinese search engine, which is more than Baidu. We have the 70% of the search penetration, which means everyone on Xiaohongshu, well, most of them on Xiaohongshu, they do search when they are using the browsing in Xiaohongshu. So that's why we call ourselves a trusted community. And we have a very natural community atmospheres, and we believe ordinary people can help each other in our content. And we use very useful advice, which is based on personal experience. And we believe our personal experience around us, whenever it's your OOTD, whenever it's your love story, whenever it's about your skincare or your career tips, whenever it's based on your personal experience, it can help and it can expanding to ordinary people and make them to and make them inspired by all of the contents. And that leads to Xiaohongshu is believed as a leading guidebook for travelers. So there's a saying called, is there anything, if there's anything you are uncertain, then you ask Xiaohongshu, especially when it comes to traveling. 82% of the travelers will search for travel guides online, and Xiaohongshu is the dominant platform which they contribute more of their time when they're doing the research before traveling. For high potential outbound traveling users, we have the numbers which is from 6 million to 19 million in these 2 years, which is 200% growth. And what's the audience insight among these people who search outbound travel, who search travel in search travel tips and advertising and recommendation on Xiaohongshu? And we can see there's more than 500 million people doing search, especially in outbound search, which is 107 YOY growth from last year. And when we deep dive in the destination by popularity and the growth of visitation into search, and we can see the hot and the faster growing powerhouse countries are like Thailand, Korea, Japan, and Malaysia, these kind of countries. And also we have our own money countries, which are like Singapore, United States, and United Kingdom. They have relatively high popularity, but slower growth, which have requires some barriers to entry. Maybe the visa policy, maybe the long haul traveling hours in flights, and etc. And also we can see emerging niche potential countries with low popularity but higher, relatively high growth rates, like Poland, Qatar, Spain, Egypt, and UAE, and etc. So these are the opportunity for these countries to seeding more contents on Xiaohongshu. And when it comes to ordinary people, when they're doing the journey on Xiaohongshu, and we can see we made a research about a focus group about the people who are usually doing traveling search on Xiaohongshu. So in this group of people, we can see from short to mid journey, what is their journey research planning on Xiaohongshu. And we can see most of them doing the planning like about 50 to 60 days ahead of the departure. And into a 8 hours flight trip, they usually doing more than 100 query made, and they read more than 300 posts when they doing the research about where should they go, what's the location, what's the entertainment and the transportation they should go. And then they usually doing the decision making before travelers about like 40 to 7 days, and they do the decision about locations and tips and accommodation, etc. And when we comes to the audience profile, which means they usually search, they search about outbound travel, or they read more than twice about outbound travel in the past 30 days. And then we can see it's over index on female, which is 7% of the over index about female, and 79% of the ages from 19 to 35, and from 26 to 30 are over index about young adults. And from the cities, 42% of them are from tier 1 and the new tier 1 cities. And here, new tier 1 cities is over index. And for what are they searching for? Because it is like travel and cruise, fashion and beauty, technology and health, lifestyle and leisure. And the and for the channel preference, they are keen on focus on the entertainment followers. They are the brand collaboration followers, and like cultural activities and technology trends. And when it comes to searching about brands when they doing the overseas traveling, the top 4 keywords when it comes with the search about overseas shopping, it comes to luxury, electronics, entertainment, and lifestyle. Yes, like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Hermes, Lululemon are the most keywords they are searching about the brands. And also we can see the travel trends on Xiaohongshu when they're doing the search. So first of all, they are the independent travelers. They are FITs. They are not usually they are not the group travelers. We can see 390% of worldwide growth on Xiaohongshu about independent travel. And second channel we find out is the visa-free countries. They are very hit right now. There are more than 700% of worldwide growth about visa-free countries like Singapore, like Qatar, like the Middle Asian, etc. And the third channel we find out is the seasonal. For here, seasonal is not only referring to for season travel, it also referring to the typical long holidays like National Day, Labor Day, Spring Festival, and etc. Because these holidays are the most time period which people will do their long haul travelings. And usually when our tourism board or our travel agency partners when they want to do seating on Xiaohongshu, we will recommend you're gonna do 2 to 3 months ahead of the following holidays. And the last trend we find out is the experience. We find out for now, young generation, they are not only want to checking for the landmarks, but they want to check out for very unique nature and a cultural experience, like scuba diving, like the adventures like no one have been experienced before, or the exhibitions or the concert. They always want to do the decision of where should they go after they made up the decision of which concert or which exhibition they want to visit in that destination. And the last part is, and how can our brand partners to engage their audience? For Xiaohongshu, we have our unique marketing methodology, which is called audience research funnel. It basically, we help our brand partners to find their core audience first, and then to use word of mouth of natural branding and use commercial traffic boosting to find out a potential audience, and use this potential audience and the core audience to make them to read, to click, to share, to comments about the advertising or the organic posts about our brands, and then use these brands to help to drive to a bigger pool and to conquer a bigger attentive audience. I would use Singapore as an example for here to use their strategy of their upper funnel strategy of the here. So for example, we're gonna find out our core audience of Singapore, which they search, they read, they engage, they post about Singapore in certain days, and then we define them as the high potential travelers, maybe like 8 million, and then we use this 8 million to expanding to our potential audience, and then maybe this potential audience we gonna define them as an interest in epic travelings, and we can use our keywords to identify who are these people who interested in epic traveling. And then we can use KOL and KOC content and use feeds and search this commercial method to use them to rise for more interest and expanding our audience to high spending power and who love travel abroad groups. Maybe it will come to a 6 million people. And then we can use IP campaign or some branding resource to make these interest people far more extension. So let me have a brief introduce about what is our core method and core products. For example, what is the official account right now is the I would take Shanghai Disney Resort as example of the official account where brand can show themselves officially. It can show the brand story. It can do brand big events of official pre-heating, and it can also doing the product setting about to communicate the product's information, to do brand official material release, or it can also engage with celebrity and the KOL to do the content asset setting. And also, after the core audience, we can use the KFS methodology to arise small interest audience. For example, we can use KOL to do the word of mouth content base, and then we can use feeds and search to do precise traffic, and then to do effective seeding by feeds and search. And how can seeding happens? For example, when we open Xiaohongshu app, people can browsing in feeds. And then we have a few certain advertising spots. It can do in precise distribution, and then it can stimulate our users' demand or their hidden demand. And then when they have their hidden demand or their demand, they can search with purpose. So for now, we have 70% of the DAU penetration of searching for every day. So they're gonna do a proactive search when they made up mind, when they, for example, if they wanna do a travel planning in National Day, and when they do the browsing in feeds about like Singapore or Bali or Malaysia, maybe their potential destination of traveling in their National Day. And then they will do the research about Singapore, like Singapore airport or Singapore hotel as the keywords of search to them doing the proactive search. And then they may doing their rational decision making when they search and read a post like more than hundreds. And also they can do not only seeding, but they can also do conversion after search. I will take Airbnb as an example. So we have SEM promotion first. So people will search like Airbnb, like New Zealand maybe as an example. And then it will pop up Airbnb's advertising here. And then people will click to the notes. And then in the bottom left side, it will have a link. If people click the link, it will seamlessly leading to landing activity theme page about doing the booking. And then people can do booking or add the products to their shopping cart. And then they can do payment directly. So we can now utilize many program or app to access and use KBFS strategy to close the loop on brand transaction right now. And also, we can competing for the peak season and the important festivals by doing branding campaigns. And we can use branding campaigns with massive exposure and use IP campaign to stimulate massive users to interaction and UGC creation. So this is a brand campaign and IP campaign that we can help our brand customers, branding clients to doing their full user journey coverage and boosting a lot more exposure. And it can also leverage the popular trend and seizing the opportunity of travel in holidays. For example, we have our branding campaign cooperation with Singapore Tourism Board in this spring. So Singapore Tourism Board, they want to do their brand refreshing campaign in this spring. So first of all, we dig in the insight from Young's interest in CNY and Singapore, and we find out what they are interested in. And then we use this insight into the strategy to engage with our users, not only online, but also offline. So it's like an online to offline campaign in the center of Shanghai. And we design a lot of fun interaction to interactive activities to stimulate engagement with our users. And also we set creative events to gain a lot of popularities offline. And this is a very successful campaign. We cooperate with Singapore Tourism Board, and we achieved more than 4 times of our estimated KPI from this campaign. And now we've already cooperated with not only Singapore Tourism Board, but also like Dubai, Brand USA, New Zealand, Australia, Abu Dhabi, and etc. Yeah, and then we hope we can cooperate more, not only tourism board, but also like hotels, shopping malls, stores, brands overseas. So we all welcoming you to cooperate with Xiaohongshu for more engagement, for more branding arising. Yeah, so that's my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cassie. I know we do have some questions for you from the audience, but we will wait for the Q&A session at the end. But you can have a quick look at the questions in the Q&A bar. And then if you want to answer those by typing, you could do that, or wait till the end of the session and answer them just by speaking. So I'm just going to pull up the presentation. And now hand over to Emily from Dragon Trail to talk to us about the Xiaohongshu rankings data for overseas tourism brands that Dragon Trail has been collecting this year.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily. I'm the marketing specialist at Dragon Trail, and today I'll be mainly sharing our exclusive Xiaohongshu rankings data, as well as some trends we found with our database and some tips for using Xiaohongshu. So before we dive into the trends and tips, I want to start I want to start by introducing our Xiaohongshu rankings. So we have been tracking and analyzing the performance of 6 different categories, NTOs, DMOs, airlines, cruise lines, attractions and museums, and hotels since around September Q4 2023. And we monitor around 89 overseas travel brands on Xiaohongshu, and we rank them weekly and quarterly by total engagement, which includes likes, collects, comments, and shares from highest to lowest. Recently, we've published our Q2 2024 Xiaohongshu rankings report, and you can find all the weekly and quarterly reports on our website under the Insights section or by following this link. Now let's look at some trends and patterns we found in Q1 and Q2 2024. And just to clarify, the data we used to create this chart was collected from our own Xiaohongshu database for overseas travel brands, which covers all posts published between January and June 2024. As you can see in this chart, it shows that most categories prefer posting photo content over video content, except for cruise line accounts, which tend to prioritize video posts. However, when we look at the average engagement for video and photo posts in each category, you can see that video posts generally outperform photo posts across most categories, especially in the cruise sector, where videos receive much higher engagement. Attractions and museums and NTOs have a more balanced engagement between photo and video content, with photos slightly leading. And the reason why video content is more likely to receive higher engagement is that video content is now more likely to receive platform recommendations compared to before. And with higher exposure comes higher chance of increased engagement. Moving on, another clear trend on Xiaohongshu is that, could you switch slide, please? Moving on, another clear trend on Xiaohongshu is that celebrity-related content, scenic views and experiences, giveaways and promotions, specific travel guides, and event announcements tend to outperform any other types of content. And here I've taken some screenshots of some of the most popular posts for each category in Q2 2024 on Xiaohongshu. So for NTOs, Tourism Australia is a prime example with its scenic photos of destinations and attractions in Australia. For DMOs, Hong Kong gained huge popularity with posts about watching a music concert in Hong Kong. Airline accounts often post about discounted flights and promotions, such as Hong Kong Airlines promotion giving away 7,000 flight tickets from mainland cities to Hong Kong. For cruises, Royal Caribbean's first-person boarding video was very popular. And for attractions, Hong Kong Disneyland frequently posts updates and launches themed merchandises, especially around Duffy and Friends, and I will go into the details about this later. And lastly, the announcement of the musical Hamilton taking place in Marina Bay Sands in Singapore also was very popular. Next, let's look at the peak times for posting on Xiaohongshu. So according to our own data from Q1 to Q2 2024, you can see that the peak posting times are at 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. with increased activity in the morning, peaking at midday, dipping in the afternoon, and rising again in the evening. We also found a third-party data from Tianhua showing peak user activity at 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. And our own data on ad views and clicks show that they concentrate at 10 p.m. So combining all the data, we would suggest the best times for posting on Xiaohongshu are 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Moving on to some tips on how to craft a popular Xiaohongshu post. So when creating a post, you should keep in mind that photos and text are equally important, with each complementing the other. While photos can be in any ratio, we recommend using vertical photos in a 3:4 ratio. And that is because vertical photos tend to be more visually appealing and user-friendly, especially on mobile devices, which are the primary platform for Xiaohongshu. Secondly, it's important to design an appealing cover image, which is also the first image for your post. A very common and popular approach is to create a collage of photos or choose one photo from your post. And you can add a title or some additional information. For example, as you can see here, Discover Hong Kong's cover image has a title and a subtitle displayed in hierarchical font sizes, and it tells you the most important information, like Hua Yu's concert in Hong Kong and a giveaway of 2 free concert tickets. And apart from the cover image, the text should provide context and additional information that enhances your visual content. For instance, you can provide tips, recommendations, or insights related to the post topic. This combination of photos and text is ideal for creating content known as 干货, or highly valuable and informative content full of takeaways and resources. This could include travel guides, hotel reviews, dining suggestions, or any other content that users would want to collect and refer to easily. So in this specific post, you can see that the text provides detailed information on how to participate in the giveaway and specific information about Hua Yu's concert. Creating an attention-grabbing title is also very important for marketing success on Xiaohongshu. Since content on Xiaohongshu is algorithm-driven, the performance of your posts heavily depends on search volume and engagement. So you should identify trending keywords that align with your brands and products and integrate these keywords into your titles and descriptions. Secondly, evoke emotions and create connections with users. Thirdly, keep the title straightforward, concise, and creative, since there's a 20-character limit. You should also try including trending memes, viral content, and lifestyle to make your title stand out. Also consider using a controversial tone or storytelling approach. And lastly, create curiosity. And here I've prepared 3 mediocre titles and 3 revised versions using the tips I mentioned earlier. The first title, Top 5 Must-Visit Spots in Paris, is actually pretty straightforward and concise, but it lacks creativity and doesn't really grab attention. A revised version could be miss these 5 spots and your Paris trip is wasted! This version uses the concept of FOMO, or fear of missing out. So instead of simply offering something like saying you should visit Paris, it's the notion that you're already there, but if you don't visit these places, your trip would be totally wasted. The second title, Travel Guide to Kyoto, is very generic and doesn't really specify what users can expect from the content. But why is everyone falling in love with Kyoto in the fall with an emoji incorporates the location and season while also creating curiosity. And the last title, Travel Tips for Bali, lacks credibility and doesn't really provide a compelling reason for users to read your tips. The revised version, How to Travel Bali Like Local, 10 insider tips you need to know, promises valuable insider information and appeals to those who want a unique and different experience. Our last tip is to amplify brand exposure and enhance follower loyalty through engaging campaigns and giveaways. And among the 6 categories, hotels often hold giveaways like tickets to concerts and sports events. Some examples are Marina Bay Sands partnering with Miracle Coffee, which is founded by JJ Lin, and giving away free coffee to lucky winners who attended JJ Lin's concert for every stop in China. The middle post shows Marriott giving away Taylor Swift's concert tickets, and the one on the right is Marina Bay Sands giving away Bruno Mars's concert tickets. Moving on to some successful campaigns on Xiaohongshu in Q1 and Q2 2024. One of the most successful campaigns is Hong Kong Disneyland's promotion of the Duffy and Friends series. So first, for a bit of background, Duffy, the Disney bear, is a Disney Parks character developed for merchandise, live entertainment, and meet and greets. And he's actually very popular in China right now. And given this popularity, more characters have been introduced and expanded into a merchandise line called Duffy and Friends, which includes Shelly May, Gelatoni, Stella Lo, Cookie Ann, Olamel, and Lena Bell. This franchise is Disney's best-selling line in China, and they've gained enormous popularity. So knowing this, Hong Kong Disneyland would consistently and frequently launch special and holiday merchandises for Duffy and Friends, create stop-motion animations, hold meet and greets, and celebrate anniversaries, which marks the anniversary of each character joining the Duffy and Friends family. All of Hong Kong Disneyland's posts related to Duffy and Friends are also filled with vibrant colors and cute illustrations, which aligns perfectly with the Chinese consumers' love for Hmong culture or also cute culture. Hong Kong Disneyland would also create phone wallpapers, and they even wrote original songs for Duffy and Friends. Another successful campaign wasn't as popular, but it stood out because of its creativity and uniqueness. And the campaign was Visit Britain's special collaboration with the Chinese otome visual novel mobile game, Mr. Love Queen's Choice, also known as 恋与制作人 in Chinese. And together they launched the British Experience Seeker Edition. So this collaboration invited gamers to virtually explore Britain alongside 4 Loveland City youth representatives. And given this game's large and dedicated user base in China, this partnership offered several benefits. Firstly, it allowed Visit Britain to reach a broad and diverse audience, especially younger demographics, who might be difficult to reach through traditional marketing channels. Secondly, gaming provides an interactive platform where users can actively engage with the content related to the destination, which makes it more impactful and than passive forms of advertising. Thirdly, integrating a destination into a game storyline can create cultural or emotional connections with players. And lastly, collaborations like this often encourage players to share their in-game experiences on social media, which helps generate user-generated content, which can further promote the destination organically. So by leveraging this immersive and interactive nature of games, Visit Britain is able to capture wide attention from both the tourism and the gaming markets, which marks an innovative approach to tourism marketing on Chinese social media.
Thank you very much, Emily. That brings us to the end of our presentation today. But before we open up to Q&A, I wanted to tell you about Dragon Trail's next webinar, which is coming up in 1 month on Wednesday, the 25th of September, just before China's major National Day holiday week kicks off. We're partnering with leading travel analyst Forward Keys for this webinar, and they will be sharing the freshest data on Chinese flight bookings in 2024 and for the holiday period. Meanwhile, Dragon Trail will be revealing the results of our latest Chinese traveler sentiment survey, and you can register for that webinar already by going to the events page on the Dragon Trail website or by following the link on the slide here when I send out today's presentation slides later today. Finally, if you're looking for our quarterly reports and weekly Xiaohongshu rankings, once again, you will find this on the resources or insights section of the Dragon Trail website. You'll also find there more information on Xiaohongshu and other Chinese social media platforms, recordings of all of our past webinars, our Chinese traveler and travel trade surveys, and much more. So thank you very much, everyone, and we're now ready to take questions. I know that Kathy has already answered quite a lot of questions by text, but if you have more, we have still a few minutes left to answer